Well, folks, today it's a very special moment. It's a Sunday morning in Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm here with a lovely lady, and the name is Beth Petty, who runs the museum here, dedicated to the memory of Hank Williams, the country legend. Now, Beth, first of all, thanks for opening the museum early today and letting us in here.
You're very welcome.
Can you just tell me now, who started the museum, Beth?
My father, Cecil Jackson, was a big fan at the age of 8 years old, 1944. He used to listen to Hank Williams on the radio station here in Montgomery. And he met him personally one afternoon, and Hank bought him a Coca-Cola. And that was such a big treat for that little kid, and here we are.
He never forgot it?
No, and he'd always listen to his music. I was raised on his music. I raised my children on the music. And I was raised up knowing that this man was important.
Special.
He was special, and his music was special. And everybody in the country music industry back then, even in still today, but even back then, knew Hank's music. They played it and they sang it. They made records. George Jones made 4 albums, tributes to Hank. Everybody made tribute to Hank. And so I was raised up knowing that this was an important man and a legend. And so my dad, he had collected so much albums and newspaper clippings
and memorabilia in here. Unbelievable.
And he said, well, I think that Montgomery and the state of Alabama needs to recognize Hank Williams more. He's buried here.
Yep, we've been to his grave just before we came here.
So we needed to have more. And so I believe you're going over to see the statue soon, the Hank Williams life-size bronze statue. My father's name is on the back of it, so is my mother. They headed up that project for Hank Williams Jr., but it stands across the street from where the funeral services were held here in Montgomery. So that statue has been there since '91. And then on Interstate 65, we have 65 miles dedicated to the Hank Williams Memorial Lost Highway. And so my dad was involved in every aspect of, getting recognition for Hank Williams in Alabama.
And country families from all over the world come here.
Yes, they do. Yes,
and I know today, later on, you've opened up early for us, but you've got groups coming in later today. Now, what has really impressed me, and as you said, goose pimples when you look at it, the car behind us is the actual car Hank Williams died in. Now, tell us a little bit about the little writing that's there about the record and the significance of a particular record. Tell the viewers about it.
Well, in December of '52, Hank recorded, he recorded a song, "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive," and it was his 8th #1 hit, and it was at the top of the charts, #1 for 8 weeks, and it was during his death.
The day he died?
The day he died, it was #1 on the charts.
And the name of the song was?
"I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive."
Yeah, you said the goose pimples when you think of it.
Yeah.
So kind of prophetic.
I think he knew.
Yeah, very prophetic. And you've got a copy of the record on the wall here,
We
haven't
do.
you?
I'll show it to you.
That's right. Now, we can't give too many secrets away, Beth, because they've
Okay.
got to come here and see for themselves. But there's so much memorabilia in here, it's worth spending time going around at your leisure and looking at it. I can tell you're very proud of the museum, aren't you?
We are. We actually say that we're very proud of the fact that we have these artifacts are real. They're not duplicates.
Yeah.
The Cadillac is the real car that Hank died in, and it is a 1952. It's baby blue or powder blue. Some people call it eggshell blue. Nevertheless, it's a beautiful blue car, and it is a convertible. Hank Williams bought the car in the summer of '52. He drove, or he made many trips around the United States in this car. Many times he had drivers, but he did drive some. And he was driving, he was all over the world, 3,000 and 4,000 miles a week in the back seat of the car being driven to shows. And night after night after night there was a show, and he was expected to be back in Nashville for the Grand Ole Opry on the weekends. So he would travel and do 300 shows a year. But this Cadillac happened to be the car he left out of Montgomery December 30th, headed to Ohio with a young driver named Charles Carr, 18 years old. And Charles has just passed away 2 years ago. He was a very good friend of ours and lived here in Montgomery.
So the driver of the car actually was a good friend of yours?
He was, and he came into the museum many, many, many times and did interviews with people just like this. And and who wanted to talk with him, and he would meet them here to do his interview. But he was a wonderful man. We miss him a lot. We miss all of the people who knew Hank. We had the pleasure of talking to so many of those greats.
Yeah.
But, the Cadillac was the car that he died in, and we're very proud to have it. It is owned by Hank Williams Jr.
And it's the centerpiece of the museum here, isn't it?
It is the focal point,
the
for
focal
sure.
point of the museum.
It's the crown jewel of all Cadillacs.
It is, yeah, definitely. A country music legend has said, look, so we've just got to say thank you, Beth, for coming in on a Sunday morning. It's a kind of balmy Sunday morning, kind of recreates the kind of sense of aura, And we've come from the grave there. We've driven down here and it's an overcast morning, Sunday morning. We just want to thank you for allowing us in here with the camera. And I said, I'm sure that all the people, country fans who are watching the show, we do lots of tours with Deirdre Grant from Tour America to the States. And this is kind of a must-see. And we're putting it on the itinerary. So for all the Hank Williams fans and in fact all the country music fans, what a place to visit. And a lot of the people in Ireland are texting me and emailing me and say pay our respects when we're out here. And there's a young singer in Ireland, I've got to mention Jordan Mogi, who idolised Hank Williams and sings all his songs. Jordan, I know you'd love to be here. Very special place, but we'll bring you back some photos. So once again, Beth, thanks for allowing us in here. We're not going to give too many secrets away. They'll have to come and see them, won't they?
They will.
Because a lot is copyrighted, as you say.
We have a lot of things that are copyrighted, and that's one of the reasons we do not allow photography. But we still like to give you a little teaser.
Yeah.
And
so we're very honoured, aren't we, today?
But we have so much. We have 17 pieces of his suits that he wore, like the nudie suits and some of his stage clothes. We have some of his overcoats and his hats, his custom-made cowboy boots.
The songs.
We have a lot of the
records.
The records, a lot of portraits. We have some of his ties and some of his awards.
So much to see.
Furniture that was in his home.
So much to see.
It is.
And it's nice now to think, I know, look, I'm getting old, Beth. And it's nice to see, forget all these cassettes and digital. It's lovely to see the vinyl records on the wall, isn't it?
It is, and you would be happy to know that vinyls are coming back.
There you go. So with that note there now, the great Hank Williams, the museum in Montgomery, Alabama. Beth, thanks once again. It's been an absolute pleasure. We wouldn't have missed it for the world. And I'm sure a lot of the people watching will be tourists over here and they'll be coming into the Montgomery. And you'll be here because you've been here a long time, haven't you?
Have been here 17 years, but yet all my life.
That's it. Lovely. So from here in Montgomery, Alabama, the Hank Williams Museum, back to the show.